Hello, everybody. A warm welcome to you. This is Taveau DRC, Sister Taveau from Taveau Creative Leadership. We're going to be out here and about, and we do have Divine Appointment Christian Ministry for Leadership. I don't have time to really counsel lay. I'm not a professional counselor, therapist, or anything like that. But I've got the proven decades, experience of hands-on Luke eyewitness theology and relationships. Usually, the effect of the theology on God's people, him and hers, and anybody else, is because of the relationship somewhere before they met God or after they met God, and then the quality of real Christian ministry is relationship oriented, respecting all people. I've gotten to be this bold because we're in a new season of Christian life. We're in a new season of the world. And what is not going to be taken into a future church, and we're in a future church, whatever it's going to be, and whoever's going to lead it in different kinds of pockets and subcultures, because that's the church is different kinds of pockets and subcultures because of the humans and God and their relationship or their lack thereof. But then you have the humans that do not want a relationship with God, do not respect the other humans. And then we're dealing with that a lot too, many times. I cannot deal right now and take on the world, those that don't know the Lord. I have to deal with the church. The true church is there. The true church is there, but I had never been evil-eyed. I'd never met false teaching. It is so anti the cause of Christ that this is why we keep on repeating it and stating it and curing it and hoping it will be delivered. It's not contrite. Think of all the different, as I say, teaching discernment of human beings, this time the churches. Nobody's perfect. Nobody, it's not all white. It's not all black. It's not all brown. It's not all men or women. It's supposed to be there anonymously, affecting, relating to God and helping people, servant leadership. But until we get the stronghold, I'm dealing with a repeated stronghold of good, hard-working, trying hard fellowship members and founders that not all are the same. And as I teach against stereotypes, which is a form of humanism, transhumanism, at the worst it can go to the New World Order, dystopian, off with their heads, they don't look like me. That's what you got. So we don't want it in the churches. And if I had never seen it in real life before the move up here, in the church, transhumanism as in the fruit of it, in fine quality, well-moneyed, huge populations, but they didn't know. They've been tricked into disrespecting strangers, evil-eyeing false religion, false authority, cult spirit, but the bias. And I didn't have it on me. I didn't understand, because my father always respected men, got along with men, because I always behaved myself. Black and white, all right? It's not that. It's not a man thing. I never thought of this till it found me on behalf of what God needed people to know about to deliver it. When I had been called, grown up under a happier than most family of Christians that taught the Bible, males and females, never heard one word in my private life or in public from them, any of them. I never heard anyone accused by race, by gender. That wasn't a big deal back then, but they didn't have any status, any word cursing, any abuse. It was gentle, respectful. The men and women got along. They were happily married couples. They were not in submission. We're going to fight, the women are in a power struggle. I heard somebody say that online the other day. A big voice, too. Well known, certain people. Yeah, the women, this is how it is. let's read our doctrine. Let's know the first church, and let's know simple, basic human qualities of real respect. I teach because of this. That's why I know too much. I know a lot about chain of command, the heart of God. See, we want the heart of God, not just spying the sin because of the rules of God. That's religious spirit, Phariseeism. That is giant. In all of us, we have to watch it. Right? In the church, you see, they say, oh, everybody's not going to church. That's the falling away. They've fallen away like they prophesied. No, some of it is. But a lot of it, what I've seen personally up close, this is why I'm disclosing and finally saying, teaching it, not calling out their name, is because it ain't just that. It's the toughness, the used to it, the accustomed, the bias, their tradition. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I have been a leader and I've been a minister in many walks of life. My parents were not poor. They were not dysfunctional. They weren't wealthy, but they were, we ate every night and they got along. And my father and mother had a church field where I grew up, where I went to public school all my life. And I was with all kinds, sort of a country more, but in a educated and not educated, but it was everybody together. So I got used to all people being respectful. Right? Even though in those days, those ancient days, where I lived at that time in Virginia, Central Virginia, which I didn't know. My parents, it was just like the way it was. I didn't know, well, I did know there was a black school, a black elementary, black high school, and a white one. That's how it was. And I remember in the background of life on radio, TV, the news would talk about all the civil rights. My parents didn't teach, they were not like that. They were for everybody. My memory, a glad memory in that day, helping me understand people are really human, not types, not its, like we get now. But when my mother's sister, was a Episcopal rector, an Episcopal rector's wife in Alabama, we were in Virginia. I was the firstborn child at the time. And so my mother's sister, the aunt, got a divorce because the Episcopal rector fell into sin and left her with 4 children. So we went down there, Mom and I, and drove down the big station wagon. Daddy still had to keep on working and, hold down the fort in Virginia. So we went down and got her. This is giving honor to my parents and my family and respect. So we drove down to Alabama, got the sister, the 4 children, all the clothes in the middle of the night, and we got her nurse. And her nurse was a nanny nurse named Helen, who was black, in the 60s. Right? A friend of the family. Fit right in. We laughed. We had fun. That was God for me to see, because I'd only heard of the news, like your children. I'd only heard the news of the fighting, of the, civil rights. People are angry and also accusing black people as well. And so God gave me a person in real life that lived with our family, and we laughed. One of the things I want to brag on my father, I come from a parents who were not really religious. They were a lot of fun, but they didn't smoke and they didn't drink, and they were teetotalers. My mother didn't even drink coffee. On my dad's side, the grandmother that would visit us, his mom, back in that day, and we were not like that, but she didn't play cards on Sunday, so we couldn't play cards on Sunday. But she was a really good grandmother. So back was the day. They were not, that was strict for her, but my parents were not like that. They were low-key, okay, and denominational. So when Helen moved in with our home for a long time, we took care of the aunt, and the aunt finally got better and married somebody, and they became pastors. Helen went back. We took her back. But it was God doing that so I could see my parents in action, real life people in my family, and affected my heart that these are real people. Dad, I wanted to brag on Dad and honor my father. You know, my dad didn't smoke and he didn't believe in smoking. But Helen came and she liked buttercup snuff. She liked to dip snuff. Fit right in, that didn't matter. I remember going one year at Christmas with my father to drive out to a country store outside the little town, which was outside of Richmond, a little town. And Dad and I went to go find Helen a big pack of snuff for her Christmas present. And see, that's my dad. That's my godly father. You know, I honor men. I honor my father and thank God for him. And my mother too. But see, you got to have people in your, see, it's your backstory. It's who was there when nobody was around is the biggest thing you can give your child, really, to be there and be normal. So I have some normal experiences. One where I'll share. We lived outside of the city of Richmond. So my parents and I, and then a grandmother that happened to be visiting, his mom usually, all right, we'd ride into the city to take off, eat a hamburger, maybe go to a parade in Richmond, and just get away, you know, from the area. Well, we would sit outside many times because back then the pastors would visit people in the hospital. Can you believe that? So we would all get in the car with my grandmother, and I think my little sister had come along, and we'd ride into the town and be outside the family, you know, my mother and all us. We'd stay in the car, he'd go in and visit, or maybe he and my mom. I'm going to tell you this. This is really strange, a memory, a funny memory. We had people in the church. It was outside of the little town 4 miles. Now it's where King's Dominion is, so who knows how many subdivisions, you know. But we would ride out there to the church, so I can say my, you know. But Dad went to visit a little old lady one time whose son and she were a little bit different. They were a little bit different, maybe a lot of it, but, you know, part of the family of God. So we rode in to see the woman who was in the hospital. She's older. And Dad came out and said, she's saying she can listen to the radio in her false teeth. Which I did hear that. That I don't know if it's fillings. I think it's fillings, not false teeth. I think it's fillings. I think I might have heard it. You can research it. Let's ask AI or something. You know, I'm going to do that later because I'm curious. But we had good memories, really good memories. And it was kindly. And it was not famous. It was servant leader. And that's what I want to sort of encourage that out there amongst you. Because if you have no relationship respect for your parents, you have no relationship respect for yourself, and if you have no relationship respect for your parents, you really won't have it for anybody else or yourself. And then you won't have it really for God, because God is pro family. He is pro the parents. There are 2 commandments that need to be preached now, especially for the younger, all right, to train their children also. Honor your father and mother. There are 2 commandments with promise in both of them. One is the 10 commandments. What is it written somewhere else? Honor your father and mother so that your days will be long on the earth and it will go well with you. My days are long. And for all this stuff in, you know, stuff I've been around, my days, every day, it goes well with me. By God's grace. It didn't look like I got fortunes and plenty and all this stuff, because it ain't really about that. It's about your peace, your comfort, your joy, casting your cares on the Lord, not being super spooky, easily triggered, sort of normal. And I have a foot on the ground because of my upbringing. We were not fancy, but we were not plain. I can say that I keep one eye open to see if I'm respecting relationships, or if they're you know, if I'm safe. And that's what we're doing here. So we're going to open the college. I'm going to close now, but I want to leave you with the peace and rest of the Holy Spirit. Cast all of your cares upon the Lord. He will sustain you. Last verse, Psalm 127, verse 1 comes to mind. It says, I'll let you read that. Psalm 127, verse 1. Unless the Lord builds the house or the houses, those that labor in vain. God loves you. God bless you. Peace. Bye bye.